And so, well, that includes our standard mixes. Single species cover crops is something that comfort level is a lot easier to understand. We're all familiar with most of these, and they're going to do just fine for a guy that's looking for a simple mix or simple cover crop. Right now, we're going through a lot of rye, and so rye is a winter annual, just like winter wheat. And so if you're looking for something that's going to grow next spring, green up next spring, maybe calve on it, or look for really early season grazing, rye is a great option. I got to be honest, it's cheap and it can grow on concrete pretty much. So a lot of guys are spreading that out there, following a silage harvest that's just right around the corner. It's actually starting around Brookings. So it's a really good option for something like that we're going to be able to throw cows on if our lots get muddy or something like that in the spring. So if you've got a place close to home, rye is a great thing to look into. Winter wheat, a lot of guys have winter wheat stored away in their bins from years before or last year, something like that. Not a bad thing to throw out there if you're looking for just a winter cover and you know you're going to need some extra grass or something like that in the early spring. It also makes decent hay if you're having to harvest it for hay. Not going to be your most tonnage, but going to be pretty palatable. Oats, probably getting a little late for oats right now, just because oats they're gonna grow up, they're gonna green, they're maybe gonna get a foot tall or so, but then a few frosts come, they might kind of wither away and die back. So it'll definitely keep something living out there and something growing, but when it comes to keeping something over the winter, might not be your best bet if that's your main goal. And then turnips and radishes. Like I talked with the classic trio, turnips and radishes are really good for whether it's breakthrough compaction or late season grazing. Really good things to look into there. And then on top of that, both single species cover crops and hundreds more is what we have in our warehouse. So if something like our standard mixes don't fit towards your goals, let's say you want radishes and rye, that's pretty popular. Have something grow in the spring and break some compaction in the fall here. We can do any custom mix. We have no problem. We do that all the time. So we can bag that in 50-pound bags or totes, however works best for you to load into your drill. But yeah, that's just something that I figured I'd throw out there is we can design something and throw something together towards your goal to achieve your guys' goal. And then I think, kind of to wrap up a short cover crop talk, when going or looking into cover crops, I think we want to ask ourselves some questions to really hone in on what we're trying to achieve and what we're trying to gain from planting the cover crop. Because like I said earlier, we don't want to just go plant a cover crop for the sake of planting a cover crop. We want to do it for the right reasons. We want to help our farm, we want to help our operation, and hopefully take care of some errors or some holes that we might have. So whether that be how much growing season I have left in the year. So right now, I think our options are a little more limited, just because of the time and growing ingredients that we have left to come. What do I plan to plant next year? Am I going to follow it with corn? If I am, I'm probably not going to be planting rye out there. And that's because rye can throw off an autotoxicity in soil. Some guys see it, some guys don't. But just to reduce risk level, I wouldn't recommend it. And that's going to hurt your corn germination and early emergence. So probably not going to look at that. But that's just, if I'm planting beans, I have no problem throwing rye out there. Do I plan on grazing it? If so, let's look for a little more tonnage. Let's look for something that's going to get a little more above ground growth and keep them cows out there for as long as possible. What's my tillage practices? Am I looking for something that is not going to produce a thick mat for next year? That I'm going to have a hard time drying out my soil or getting through with my planters if I don't plan on tilling it. And that all bases off or comes back to your soil health also. And microbial activity. And then one of the last things is, what am I trying to achieve with this cover crop? And that's all answered from the things before. So, yeah, and I just wanted to reiterate, we're happy to work with conservation districts like Kingsbury County, and we're very close. So any questions that you might direct towards them or towards us, we're happy to answer for you, and we get you to see the right way. So with that, I guess that concludes what I had put together. Like I said, kind of a crash course, but hopefully I was able to answer some questions. If you guys have any more, the floor is open. Nah. Thanks for your time.
We'll let for a second set up while you guys ask some questions. I do have a conservation grant that if you want to dabble in this and try a cover crop, we can cover you up to 50%, and it covers 60 acres. It can be only a one-time use for that one farmer. I know Al's used it. I know Luke has used it once. Did you guys see any benefit from it? Did you like it? How did you use it? That was my first year here, so. Al, did you do radishes?
I used radishes to turn up the boats, and got some great fall grazing. And it was a wet year, so I think we alleviated quite a bit of the compaction on that field as well. Looked good. I had right on time in the cornfield for the college grazing and then grazed the corn crop. They're probably about 70% of the time in the cover crop, 30% in the corn crop. Looked good.
Yeah, that's a perfect combination. I mean, you still need some fiber. Not a whole lot of fiber in oats and turnips and radishes, so something.
But it was following an old crop that we chopped off for size.
Perfect. Yeah, it works. I mean, there's a lot of things you can throw in there, but yeah, that's a foolproof one. It's perfect for that.
Do most of those that you talked about, they grow in sour ground and alkaline ground?
Yeah. So the main one that I recommend. So the NFCS actually only lists 2 cover crops to grow in alkaline ground, and that's sugar beets and barley. We don't know barley, pretty much goes for anything. As far as the diverse mix is concerned, brand can is going to do your best. That's got sunflowers in it, which are going to do pretty good. And then, I mean, the more diversity you have, honestly, the more chance you have that something's going to do pretty good. Yeah, but I mean, as far as true alkaline ground, like white, nothing's growing, sugar beets and barley is going to be probably your best bet.
Radishes don't grow there?
They might germinate, but they might fry up later on. Yeah.
We were talking to Millborn earlier, I think it was last year, we're looking at a hog unit that's not in use anymore, so it's really talking nutrients right now. We were looking at different blends that we could use for grasses. We put cover crops in there for a couple of years, and you're going to start neutralizing that soil and be able to use it again too. So we're looking at a place that has hemlock, and it's an old pig lot, and we're looking to what's going to grow best over there to compete against that hemlock. So we ground it out. So we came out with some grasses in there, and just leave it and kill it the next season, or just let it keep on coming back and pulling out those nutrients and neutralizing it. So,
Yeah.
and like I said, if we have a grant, if you need college, you are interested, let me help you out. We can just play with this and we'll call him and see what you guys want on your board, okay?
You bet. Thanks again, guys.
Got one more quick question. I didn't notice you planted anything with like a sedan grass or a sorghum mix in it.
Yeah.
Would there be some way of getting more forage for grazing even later in the year?
Other than with using them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like those for the same reason we use corn stalks for fiber. If you mix something like that with turnips and radishes, I mean that's going to be your highest yielding one into November, December. Honestly, until it's covered in snow, pretty much. It really depends on when you're looking to graze it. With sorghum sedan, I personally don't graze that until after the frost is gone, and that's just because of prussic acid. Prussic acid accumulates in the leaves. Some guys aren't worried about it. Some are really scared of it, and rightfully so. it accumulates in the leaves, and as the cow chews, it exploits their mouth, and it actually is cyanide poisoning that they breathe in, and it could potentially kill them. But if we plant that, and a frost comes, and those leaves get singed off or singed, if we wait a week, that leaches out through the leaves, and then we're completely fine for the rest of the year, basically. So that's just something to keep in mind. I mean, we want to be honest with you. By all means, we don't want anybody hurting the cattle, but that's going to be our highest punishing option late, if you will. Yeah.